You can still do, crossface. You can still do some of these things that you may have found success in folk style, right? We might not be doing chop arm, cross wrist tilt type thing necessarily, but we can still get to some of these potentially if we end up finding ourselves there, right? And so I think that's been one of the, I wouldn't say the hardest things, but something I've had to kind of maybe overcome with a lot of them in the mental space for them to gain. Of granted, it's mainly confidence, but to get them to understand like it's similar. It's different, but it's similar, right? And just understanding how to make it your own. Once you understand the rules, now we just have to grow with it, right? So I think that's been one of the things I've had to figure out in this coaching world is getting them to not only comprehend it, but not overthink it, I think.
Yeah, 100%. Especially, I've noticed that there can be a big intellectual hurdle. Like
Mm-hmm.
it almost seems insurmountable for many of them if they don't have a lot of freestyle experience. And I would say, I don't know if there's a percentage, but I could say at least half of our roster has little to no freestyle experience. And, that's continuing to change. Probably that's going to change class after class after class. But, I actually, talk to the girls about this a lot. It's, how did you learn how to ride a bike? You got on the bike and you started pedaling and you fell off and you scraped your knee, right? And then you said, okay, I'm going to throw a band-aid on it. I'm going to get back up on the bike and I'm just going to keep going. And as you learn how to ride the bike, there's certain little habits that you pick up that work really, really well for and
Yeah.
so it's one of those things is just kind of putting people in the saddle over and over and over again, right? Get in the saddle and get ready to go. But yeah, it can be an intellectual hurdle, and then you're right. Like you hit that nail on the head with the overthinking side and the confidence side, and how interwoven they are.
Right.
Like too little confidence, a lot of overthinking, right? And then there's
Yeah.
this big
Yeah.
gap you have to
Yeah.
try and
Yeah.
kind of level out, and sometimes it's too much right? So it's kind of like
Yeah.
always knowing who your athletes are and where they're at, and
Yeah.
but I would say that those are two things that I noticed within maybe a month of getting them on the mat. Just trying to get them to believe in themselves, right? Believe in
Yeah.
themselves.